The mysteries of ancient history are relevant to the present, and especially in the times we live in right now. In part 26, I explained how historically and literally it is documented that the animals on the coat of arms of certain royal houses are based on Scythian artwork and tattoos of predatory animals. Remembering that the Scythians were one of the four Aryan root Nephilim-related races and were giant-like people and were related to the Tuatha De Danann. Listening to Gary Wayne in another video, he talked more about the heraldry and how there's a dual meaning to the animals on heraldry, in that they also represent the mystical religion and allegories of the royals, and they are also meant to counterfeit the throne of God angels. And I wanted to talk about this because I think this is really interesting. Gary says it has to do with the royals taking their genealogy back to fallen angels who may have looked similar to the seraphim, as we see with the Anunnaki in Egypt and other gods that were worshipped around the world in all cultures. And they have also may have looked like the cherubim. So I want to look at the seraphim and the cherubim biblically and also show how this may indeed be incorporated into heraldry. So talking about the seraph. Seraph is a Hebrew word with two meanings. One's a noun meaning a serpent, and the other meaning is a verb meaning to burn. So many scholars believe that seraphim means burning ones. And in Hebrew Bible, these are referred to as spirit beings. They had 6 wings described in Isaiah 6:1 and could talk. The Bible doesn't give a lot of detail about these creatures, but in Isaiah's times, the audience didn't need a lot of information because the ancient people were acquainted with the idea of supernatural beings, including seraphim. And this is likely the type of angelic being that Lucifer was before the fall, and this is why so many scholars believe that he is depicted as a dragon. There's a dragon here. Nephilim bloodlines believe they'll be king of the world, or otherwise known as the Antichrist, because Christ is king, and through a seraphim bloodline. So let's talk about the throne of God cherubim, which are spirit beings described in the Bible with 4 faces. Okay, in Ezekiel, I'll just read Ezekiel 1:5-10. Also out of the mist thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings, and their feet were straight, and the sole of their feet was like a sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. They had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined to one another. They turned not when they went, and they went every one straight forward. For the likeness of their faces, they had the face of a man, the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and they 4 also had the face of an eagle. So the faces are for a man, lion, ox or wild bull, and unicorn translates to this in Hebrew, to ox or wild bull, and the face of an eagle. So man, lion, ox / unicorn, and eagle. And now I'm just going to read the Revelation version of it because they're described in Revelation also, but a little bit differently. In Revelations it says, "And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal, and in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had a face as a man, and the fourth fourth beast was like a flying eagle. And the 4 beasts, each of them had 6 wings about them, and they were full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, which was and is to come. And when those beasts give glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who liveth forever and ever. So these were the throne angels, and those were the faces of them. So this is just one example of heraldry that has not only animal predation, but also these mythical representations of creatures and throne angels. And remembering that here we do see a dragon, we see a lion, and then with this unicorn, which is their mythical representation of the ox or wild bull, with only 1 horn instead of 2. Remember, in Hebrew, it can also translate, unicorn can translate to ox or bull, with a horn being represented. And this unicorn is interesting because it's another one of these mythical creatures that we see in mythology, history, literature, and popular culture now. Here's mythology / literature, and in popular culture, I guess you'll notice that on your iPhone you got unicorns popping up everywhere to use as emojis and stuff like that. And it's believed that unicorns were pre-flood hybrid creatures which did not survive the flood. The unicorn was a white chimera stallion horse ridden by giants before the flood, and they had that horn. And unicorns also had meaning after the flood, in that large horses were ridden by the Scythians and the Tuatha De Danann, especially white ones. So you'll see a white horse depicted a lot of times in a lot of things. I won't go into all the things, but if you notice anywhere you see horses, you're going to see white horses a lot. But since they didn't have horns anymore after the flood, these Nephilim types put helmets with a horn on their horses. Here's just an example of one in a museum, probably a replica. But the unicorn is the single horn that rises in the 10 horns in Daniel 7. And it's associated to a rising empire, just as the double-headed eagle is associated to the Roman Empire. I'm sure you guys have seen that a lot, that double-headed eagle. But I'm going to read Daniel 7 here. I thought I had it up, but I guess I don't. So I'll just read it. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed, and then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw a vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. And the 4 great beasts came out of the sea, diverse from one another. One was like a lion, and it had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings therefore were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like unto a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it, and said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. And I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dressed dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth that devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped with its residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I think this is the beast system, the one world order government rising up. I considered the horns, and behold, there came upon them among another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and the wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands of thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till as the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. I'm going to keep reading because this is the good part here, the good news. And concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, a glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Apparently these bloodliners didn't read this last part, because this is good. We know Daniel's interpretations are accurate and come true. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings which shall arrive out of the earth. Beasts are kings. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped with the residue of his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and the judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the rest, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. Isn't that starting to happen now? And they shall be given into his hand until the times and half, in the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit. The judgment shall sit. And they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it to the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom and the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. And all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. And for me, Daniel, mine cognitions much troubled me, and my countenance changed me, but I kept the matter in my heart. So, that little horn of the unicorn is part of this representation on heraldry also. Unicorns represented in the heraldry of many of the AC candidates, such as the Stuarts, Windsors, and some of the Scottish clans. So some people think and are saying now that this AC may not be human, but definitely these royals believe that they will present one form of their bloodline as king of the world, which is going to be the Antichrist. And they are in competition for this title. This is what Gary Wayne talks about all the time and what his book is about. And I've shown in the videos on this channel everything I look at with spiritual eyes confirms this theory. Also historically and in our reality of who these people really are. Their practices, beliefs, religions, their fruits, and all that. And even the Bible says that it will be a human male or a man, because that's the number or the mark that or the people are going to be coerced into taking. But it also says that it will be a beast, and we know that kings are beasts in the Bible, especially at the end. So I think it's going to be a human king based on my interpretation of scripture and everything that I'm studying. And I also think it's going to be a human from this Ordo Draconis, or Order of the Dragon, which I've covered in my other videos. And I want to talk about one example of the Order of the Dragon in history as it relates to things we see in current culture and European history. And a lot of people covered this Gotthard rail tunnel opening that happened in Switzerland in June of 2016, which was a satanic and druidic and all kind of pagan ritual performance for the European elites at the opening of this tunnel. And a friend brought this up, that I brought this up to a few years ago, wanted me to cover this in a video, so I'm going to do that. Just going to show a few pictures of this. Certainly not all of the satanic imagery, but these are some good pictures of it. There was so much. Here's some of these elites taking the photos. Holding a lamb. They had this communist-style workers with people marching to the beast. They had a bunch of sexual stuff in there. This guy was a star. This goat, Azazel type thing, and he ends up having some kind of relation with this being, and then somebody gets pregnant and births this transgender-ish type child. It was very, very, very satanic. But one of the things that I wanted to cover that a few others did not talk about that I'm aware of is the history of this place, the Gotthard Pass, and the Devil's Bridge there, and also who it's named after, and then you'll see how it's tied into the Order of the Dragon as I go along through this. But the Gotthard Pass is a mountain pass in the Alps connecting southern and northern Europe, and it's extremely treacherous because of the geography, but it's an important transport access. So historically there's been a challenge making it traversable. And access to this pass is via this Schlallenen Gorge, which is home to this old bridge that provided people a way to traverse it, called the Devil's Bridge. Here's a picture of it, a painting of it in ancient times. But the interesting thing about this is the legend of this bridge. And that legend is that the people of the area recruited the devil to help them build the bridge, but the devil requested to receive the first thing to pass the bridge in exchange for his help. So to trick the devil, who expected to receive the soul of a man, they sent across a dog in some accounts, a goat in other accounts. And then the devil was enraged because he got tricked. And he wanted to fetch a large rock to smash the bridge, but he couldn't use the one that he planned to use because a village woman had drawn a cross on it. And apparently the same stone is a large block of granite that is still there and serves as a tourist attraction of sorts, and it's called the Devil's Stone. And somewhere I read that this granite stone is the place where the Gotthard rail tunnel was drilled through, and apparently they used the same drill for CERN, this giant tunnel boring drill. And somewhere I read that that stone, that granite Devil's Stone, is the part that they could never drill through because they were trying to make that tunnel for like 17 years. But that they were finally able to drill through it with that CERN drill. So it makes sense now how they wanted to celebrate it in this manner, you see, to me. And I'll tell you now, that ceremony was a major part of my waking up in 2016, and that's when I knew for sure that yes, the royals are definitely Satanists. No doubt in my mind after that. But how it relates to the Order of the Dragon more is this, and I want to go over this because this kind of makes a connection to the religious orders of that class. And the Gotthard Pass is named after this St. Gotthard of Heidelsham. And he was a Bavarian bishop of the noble priest class, which is very common of the priests of that time, that they would be nobles, and still today even, at least at the higher levels. And this is him, St. Goddard. He was alive from 960 to 1038, and there's a lot about him that you can read here, but I'm not going to read all of it, but look at this photo. See him here with his little Templar outfit and his orb and staff, and also the mitre hat, and he also kind of looks Egyptian too. But how he's classified is as with an attribute dragon model of a church. The dragon model of church. So it's all in plain sight, and it has been all along. We just weren't seeing it, but now we are. Thank you.